Hello! I'm gonna do a vlog style video, and it's only kind of a vlog style video. This is not quite a vlog, because the Mwangi Expanse Lost Omens guidebook came out for Pathfinder 2e, and I was gonna say that I didn't know I needed it. I did know that they needed it, and I really wanted it. But they added so much stuff that they should have had in like some other splat books, like Age of Ashes a little bit, and I love a lot of the stuff they got in here. We're gonna go just the things that I like more. I don't really care about all of it. I'm gonna be honest. I've read most of it already, but I don't care about a lot of it. There are some things that I specifically love more than others, especially in the geography section. I love the Sodden Lands. I love the ruins of Ko. In the people of the Mwangi, I love the Alijay, because I never even heard of these guys before, and I love all of the races they added. We'll get to them, because I have some thoughts on them as well. I've always wanted more about Grandmother Spider. She's dope. I have loved Walkina, and I really wanted to know more, because they had like very little about him, other than that he was like some child mummy that came back and was evil, and I can only assume he is now evil because he's undead, but we don't know if he was evil before. So we're gonna get into this. We're gonna go okay, we'll look at the map first, actually, because that's cool. The maps are always good to have. Things that I want to go into. Jaha is super cool. That whole city, super fun. Soho. No, Ko is awesome. I'm gonna be honest. Where'd Sargava go? Where did Sargava go? It's now Vidrian, which is super weird. Let's fucking, you know what? Fuck order. We're going to Vidrian. Okay, sure, it's right there. Bring me to more Vidrian. My dumbass. Control F is not better than the fucking table of contents. Vidrian, 274. I would have been going forever. Vidrian. Holy shit. What happened? What happened? I heard about Sargava maybe 3 times in all of their things. I am running Skulls and Shackles, and I heard about it a couple times. Just because it's Chelish run and it's there, but it's a whole different place now. Like, Cheliax is getting fucked over, by the way, which is super fun. But I'd never even heard of this. They have a map of Vidrian, so that's cool. There's the capital, which makes sense that it's on the coastline because they were having to push everybody out. I know that much. But like, what happened? What adventure path happened? Because I only knew of it being Chelish run, and they were trying to, keep it and keep slavery and all this dumbass shit. I love that character picture, by the way. Fuck yeah. Okay, so it was a bunch of tribes that bound together. Cool. Bunch of little city-states. That's great. And there's stuff about, like, the Vidric Revolution, which makes sense. You would need a revolution. You would need people to band together and to revolt. But, like, was this in an adventure path? The only worry I have, if it wasn't, is they did the same thing again, where they're kind of running out of villains. Like, they made some, especially with, like, Tyrant's Grasp. They let Tar-Baphon out. Great. Cool. He's out. There's like one place in the world that's now more evil, but there's so many places that are now okay, that are like in Wrath of the Righteous. Fucking spoiler alert for all this stuff. This is a spoiler-filled video. In Wrath of the Righteous, you close the world wound. Now the Sarkoris Scar is it's not good. It's not cool. Shit's still fucked up around there, but there's no mass influx of demons, and I run a Galarian where Discari was killed, so sure, there's this power vacuum where, like, that's of course going to get filled in by something, just as bad, but Discari's not there. So they've taken away another possible villain. That is, unless they did do it in an adventure path, which they easily could have. Look at that hippo! They easily could have done it in some adventure path. This is like, you know, Pan's Labyrinth? I don't have a joke for that, but there it is. I guess one good thing is they still have a lot of villains. Like, they're really adding in stuff about, like, the Chauraka. I think that is very indicative of where they're going to be going, because they gotta have something to fight Angazan, or whatever. He's a fucking demon lord? On this fucking plane, like Tree Razor, but, you know, in the Mwangi jungle. Tree Razor was bad shit. Like, that's a problem. Witchfire. Well, which fire is it? Moving on. So, I have a worry for 2nd edition that they're going to take out way too many of the big bads, the enemies. Cheliax is already getting kind of pounded into the ground by all of the adventure paths before. This one with the Vidric Revolution before, with Ravenel as a whole thing. I know they kept West Crown or Igorian or whatever in Hell's Vengeance. I didn't play it, but like, cool, you kept something. That's not exactly making it worse, you know. There's no real like, there's no worry there. It's just you still have that place. Either way, there's going to be cool things. They're going to add in more villains. I'm sure they're going to do something with Baba Yaga as well. Like, Irison, kind of scooted by. Because I never played Reign of Winter, but you fucking better not have killed Baba Yaga at the end. She's way more powerful than you. And, like, there is Arazni. In our game, we kept calling her Arzani, because we thought that sounded better. So, Arazni, the Harlot Queen, cool goddess of all those things. I'm gonna call her Arzani, so there's that. There's still Arzani, kind of just floating around. Did she die? Did she get what she wanted? Did she not? That's left up in the air. I don't know if they'll ever answer that, but they might. I am going to highlight I'm gonna move on now. Is fucking what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna highlight the Alige, or the Alige, or however you say it. I don't know. They're fake elves, so I think I'm okay with pronouncing their names weirdly or incorrectly, at least for the time being. You know, if I ever hear them say the correct pronunciation of this word, I'm gonna go with Alige for now. These motherfuckers are so cool. I had never heard about them before this, and like, I constantly read the Pathfinder wiki. It's just fun. The lore wiki, you just go from page to page to page, you link hop, and then you find out so much about this very connected world. Like, everything feels like it's not some bubble. Like, one problem I always have in Faerun is it feels like there are these bubbles that exist. Right now I'm in a campaign of Rime of the Frostmaiden. It feels very enclosed in Icewind Dale. People haven't left Icewind Dale. People haven't really come into Icewind Dale. Not that I've run into yet. But that's my problem with Faerun. It feels like Icewind Dale is over there and we're not going to worry about it. But like, in Pathfinder, they'll put in people who are running from other catastrophes in other nations because of how they're run. Like, oh, this person was in Irison before, but they didn't like all the witches about, so they left, and now they're here in Varisia doing something. They have all of that interconnectedness, that interplay between these nations. That is the cool thing to me about Pathfinder, about Golarion, about all this world. And I hadn't read about these guys. They're fucking crazy. I don't know if they're new, or if they're just awesome. I feel like I've seen Alige or Mwalige before, but this is a new thing that is not something that they've been doing for a while, because that just happened. I like the addition of it, the worshipping the Redeemer Queen, Nocticula. I do like that. I like that they immediately bound to that, because they're not an evil people, but they are in this place. These temples have inscriptions and writings on the walls surrounding and inside and everything like that. And they were just there. They were found there. They're obviously demonic and evil, but they're just like, oh, we gotta study them. But they're very neutral about it. It's awesome. It's just like, no, we need this knowledge. That's what we need. That's all we need. We don't need to be corrupted. That's so cool. They've just become the society of very analytical, scholarly people who just archive all of the knowledge that they need. And I don't know if it's because of one thing or another, but I'm going to guess they found the place, they understood it was evil, they wanted to chronicle it, and then they started chronicling everything. Because, like, these masks here, the one that this guy's carving, is a genealogy mask, which is right here. They're archiving their own adventures, where, like, somebody dies, and they give it to their next of kin, to continue on this ancestral line of all these things. I would love to see a small version of it that's like the mask of the hero or the mask of the demon. Either way, it's like some vigilante who passes on the mask and then they can learn from all of the different like ancestor spirits in the mask and all of that. That is fucking awesome. That is ripe for all of the character just chef kiss approval stuff. That is awesome. That is perfect. And their culture just does this. So I'd never even heard of these people, and I'm so here for them. Like, oh my god, yes. They're cool. Some bad shit's gotta go down. I mean, seriously. But let me read just the first sentence of this. The Queen's Vault. Demon totems and dangerous creatures aren't all that's contained within the pyramids of Nagisa. Within also lie precious artifacts, and some of those artifacts, namely powerful abyssal crystals, could prove devastating in the wrong hands. That is the first sentence of something that they just have. Now, I understand. I understand where they come from. They're the Dehindrian crystals or whatever. I don't remember fully what they did in Wrath of the Righteous, but they were important to closing the No. They're bad. They're evil. They're even worse, actually. If they get stolen, that is terrible for... Let's see. Who uses the most awards? Absalom. That's terrible for Absalom. They have some defenses that I'm sure could be just fucked over by the Nahindrian crystal. The Aeon towers that supply all of the food for Absalom, if those just get hit with a fucking Nahindrian chisel or whatever, that shit's gone. Absalom is destitute. And then what? Is there going to be a new trade hub? Is it going to be in Cheliax? Is it going to be in Andoran? Is it going to be in Varissia? There's New Thassalon, which they really need to touch on. They really need to touch on more. Because what? A fucking country is just back? The fucking Rune Lords are just back? That is not... I haven't played Return of the Rune Lords, so I don't know all of that. But that fucking scares me. Something's gonna happen there. Anyway, Alij people, super cool. The Ekuj, they're cool. You know, they have a fucking long-ass history, and they're some of the only people that were actually, like, doing just fine in the fucking Age of Darkness. Funnily enough, Dahak rose up and they were like, guess we're fighting Dahak. And then they fucking did. What? Hell yeah, man. We're moving on. We only have so much time and we haven't even gotten to my favorite fucking thing yet. One thing that I have found that I want to learn how to fucking do. I want to figure out what would be a great build for this. I would love to make a half, I guess, Kalije, because they're the demon fighting elves. Half Kalije, half Mantanji, not Mbeke. Half Matanji is the one. Half Matanji, half Kalije, elf or orc. I would love to do that. That would be so cool, because both of their societies are just demon fighters, you know? Both of them. I would love to make some, like, witch hunter, demon hunter kind of style person who just seeks out maybe a champion, maybe, whatever class, really. I'd probably want to put way too much into them. Just because, like, I would want to have every single ability to fight demons, which would be, okay, you're a champion, and you're probably, honestly, at that point, you're a cleric, and, there's probably some witch abilities that are good for fighting demons, and there's just, like, way too many things. So it would be one of the builds that I just get away from. But a super cool character idea would be half Matangi, half Kalije elf, who's just raised in these cultures of demons, bad. Tattoos are cool. We're gonna go back for a second. These nomadic dwarves who worship dragons, and they dye their hair color as like a fucking it's a rite of passage, but at a pivotal moment. There's not like an age you become, you dye your hair. That is ripe for character development. Oh my god, think about playing a Taralu elf. You're born with this dark curly hair, and you like keep thinking that you haven't found your passion, but you get really good at making these hair dyes and stuff like that. Especially if you like were the hair dye maker or the dye maker for your people who are exceptionally color-based, colorful. And then throughout your whole life, you're just like trying to find what color fits you, what thing you want, because of one thing or another. And then on your adventure, you find out it has to be this, and you make up this reason why, or like you get further along in your like dragon heritage or some shit like that because you're really traditional. It could be anything. But that's like, I love those physical ways of adding in character development. Like, when late in a series, somebody has different hair than they started with, that fucking gets me going. Like, fuck yeah, you changed your hairstyle because you're a different person now. Give me some physical sign. Give me some physical sign you had character development. And that is a great way of doing it. They added in an Anadi. Thank fucking God. They fucking added an Anadi character in Age of Ashes in the fucking, like, end of this first book. How could you do that without releasing the race? I'm glad they waited because I feel like they got better since Age of Ashes at, like, balancing some things and entering in new abilities and everything like that. Sometimes power creep is not power creep, it's how the system was meant to be played and how it's supposed to be experienced. That aside, fucking spider people! Oh, look at them! And, like, I always love I always love shape changers. Every time there's a shape changer, I am pulled towards it. I have played a Kitsune in first edition multiple times because they can change their shape. That's it. And fucking spider people with a rich culture of spiders not even being bad, but weavers and storytellers, illusion makers, and protectors. That is fucking awesome. Thank God for a good depiction of spiders. None of this Sheila bullshit. He was an arachnophobe, and you can't convince me otherwise. These fuckers. What? Where do they come from? Where do they come from? I have not heard of these guys. I have one guess as to where they come from. And it's, I'm not going to go to it. In this book, there's a city that has this fucking dome built over this ethereal well that is fucking old-ass Ent guards because some shit's going down there, and it's getting worse. That's where I guess these guys come from. Splinters of artificers from the ancient Jiska Imperium. Okay, whatever. Okay, I guess they're ancient wizard experiments. But then how are there more of them? How can you say that these guys are, like, still around? That was thousands of years ago. It's so cool, though. Like, you ever wanted to play a Warforged? I guess play one of these guys, because you have your fucking armor as your skin. I haven't looked into their stuff as much. Exoskeleton is medium armor in the plate armor group. So, wait a minute. Huh. So you actually don't get proficiency with it if you have that heritage. you don't get proficiency with medium armor. So you'd have to play a martial character to fully make use of that trait. You also need strength, actually, so I was about to say it'd be fun to play like a wizard or a witch Kanrasu, who could just like have good armor, but not really. I love that they're very ceremonial and old, and I love that you have the option to play some Aeonic race. We needed an Aeonic race, and this is kind of the best way to do it. It's just alien enough, but inviting with this stone and wood kind of architecture and this cosmic look to their, like, you know, the eyes or whatever they have there. I have no clue what these fuckers are. I hadn't heard of them either. I'm gonna move on, because they're kind of creepy. Like, I love me some creepy shit. Bloodborne is my favorite game, and I love these races. We haven't had a race that has eyes, really. Like, eyes is a special thing. We've had races that are like, I'm a spider, that's my special thing. I'm stronger and more endurant than other people, that's my thing for orcs, generally. Eyes has not really been a thing. Good to have it, I guess. Gripplies. Gripplies, would you believe it or not? I skipped over gnolls. I'm going to skip over these guys too, because I don't know what to say about them. People with bone feathers? No. Don't know how I feel about that. Quills? I love this art. I'm so thankful for this art right here. I got to scroll a little bit to get it all on screen. Boom. I'm very happy that this art exists, because this is the new Oracle and the old Oracle, both the iconics. I'm glad to see that they didn't just kind of retire the old Oracle, because she had a really fun story. But I do really love the new Oracle as well, and I love how they're granted their power from their own, like, they're so emblematic of their own deities, which is really fun. Really happy to see this art. And this, Adane. Adanye. I'm gonna guess Adanye. I'm so happy that they're giving a little bit more credence to, like, what beast races are. The Amaruns, as you can see on screen, just right there, known as catfolk, Amarun, and the Uruxi, both getting kind of their own names rather than just being the beasts that we'll name. I'm very happy to see that cultural change. Not just in Pathfinder, but in kind of the world. Very happy. And I'm glad Pathfinder is so forward in, like, social change towards something better. And goes on. I love that they now have a god that is just the god of being fucking huge. Balumdar, the world shaker. He's just big. That's his reason. He's not in the giant pantheon, funnily enough. He's not technically a giant. He's just tall. He's just big. I bet him and Kyrgyz or Kyrgyz, however you pronounce it, would be friends. God of sportsmanship. I bet they'd have fun together. Grandmother Spider, read this section, please. It's wonderful. I love Grandmother Spider. That's kind of the reason I say this. One thing I've noticed on this pass-through, she's weaving a red mantis. I don't know what that means. I know that she had some connection to the red mantis before, which is kind of weird given that the red mantis was one of the primeval gods. But that is only in one way that the story can go. So, who knows? I'm going to be moving on, though. I have only so much... I just said I only have so much time with this god I hadn't heard of, and oh my god, I fucking love them! What? Holy shit! You got some fucking ghoulish, ghastly, chaotic, and neutral creature? Thank you. So fucking much. Such a chaotic, neutral god. Like, fear, silence, safekeeping, and the reviled. Right next to this passage, up here, is this. Calicock has a deep love of wild plants. He brews liquid chocolate, coffee, and ciders from jungle fruit, and his priests often use such drinks in their rituals and spells. What? I love it. I love it so much. They took a monster who has a purpose, who has like a single purpose. I'm going to keep these places safe. And they just made a person out of it. And I love that. Oh, there's too many good things. Uvuko, so much fun. A fucking shy deity. I'm gonna read this fucking last passage here. Despite his age and power, Uvuko is an innocent god, sometimes even shy. Rituals to Uvuko are often simply attempts to coax the god into actually visiting. Arguments, misery, or even a cross word spoken in anger can cause the god to dart away, and so priests seeking Uvuko's blessing must be careful to present a welcoming environment. This fucking soft boy big deity cloud dragon, oh my god. Thank you. And Walkina. Oh, I love the idea because there's so much awesome in it. There's so much cool shit in this idea. Fucking a child who is a god, who is immature and narcissistic, for almost good reason, as he's a living god. You know how long it's been since there's been a living god? Like 114 years, when Aaron fucking died. Of course you're gonna be a little, fucking up in yourself about it. Seriously. And he takes that, and he just goes full fucking Chelish, but not with it. Like, you have to worship me, because we're gonna save Mwangi. The thing that's so cool about it to me is I have my own theory onto when he is going to actually pass on. I think that's going to come when Mwangi is free of outsiders. I don't know fully what that means, but there's, I don't know if it's nearby, there's a passage, there's a feat you can actually take, where you are a adherent to Walkina. You have taken this ritual. When you die, you become a zombie, NPC controlled by Walkina, the DM, through this deity's perspective. And you stay that way until you are killed, or until Mwangi is free of outsiders, of foreigners. I don't get what that means. Because does that mean that everything is just walled off? Or does that mean nobody is trying to take over? That is, to me, I think, the coolest thing. Especially because Walkina was raised from the crypt being opened, from outsiders coming in and invading Mwangi. Super cool. Fought back the fucking Chelish armies just with such ease. Just a rain of fire. You woke me up, you son of a bitch. Boom. Dead. I love his story. I really want to see what, further goes on with Walkina. There's a lot of cool places in here, but I gotta keep moving on. There's a lot of cool art, but I gotta keep moving on. Because I need to find one place. And I think this might be the last thing I actually talk about. Because it is the thing that I really wanted the most. Ruins of Ko wasn't it. Super cool. It fell. There's artifacts inside. There's crystal people. I'm glad that they went into the fact that there's crystal people. That's great. There. Okay. Now, here. Jaha. I love Jaha. When I found the whole stuff about Golgon, and then I found Jaha, and the Lyrgan people, and how the Cyclops had their fucking prophecy still a little bit, and how Lyrgan people can still tell the future a little bit, that made me think there must be something more in world-wise to these people. And I have a lot of theories on them, and I've already gone over, so I can't go into those theories today. But oh my god, the people of Jaha. I love that they've gotten better. You know, they don't have Eruxi as slaves. Do they have Eruxi as slaves? This doesn't look like slavery, personally. I don't think they were. Under the Jahans, the city's previous Eruxis were subjugated people, but before that they were themselves fearsome warriors who laid claim to the city. But cruel Eruxis. You know, I haven't found it yet, but I'm gonna assume now they're okay. With, of course, some fair grudges, but with the Sodden lands kind of being how it is, I think that was the big thing that got them out of it. That's what I'm seeing. Oh, okay, yeah. This passage says right here that essentially Lyrgan, whole country got killed. The Lyrgani people who were like, oh shit, we're gonna go, found Jaha and became the Jahaxi coalition with the Uruksu that had taken over the city and had all of the people, the Lyrgani people, wiped from it. It says gone, I assume, by the Eye of a Bendigo. I love Jaha because I believe it connects so hard to the Golgon people, who were an ancient society before Aslan and were prophesiers and were fucking so good at magic. Their shit's still around. Like, fucking looking at you, Aslanti, your shit's still around, but it's not as old as this shit. They win. And their prophecy still works as an inherent physical thing. And they worship the sun and the moon as not deities, but as their primordial things, as the sun and the moon. I believe that's where Lyrgani astrology came from, because they used a lot of the Cyclopean concepts of look to this for this, but they used it with the rest of the stars, so they can actually tell a lot more things in detail and intricacy, with more perspective as there's more eyes on the situation. I love it! So I was so happy to see finally some more stuff about Jaha, and I'm glad that the lizard folk aren't slaves, because lizard folk are dope, and they've added some really fun things. And then there's this bullshit, which, please have a read of it. There's apparently stones that teleport you to just cool situations and places. Great. Wonderful. Here's Mazzali. I think the feet's down here somewhere. Yeah, here it is. I'm going to leave it up on screen as I just say, I'm going to be done for now. This is great. I just needed to nerd out about this, honestly. It's so much fun. I love the world of Golarion. I love Pathfinder. And 2nd edition is starting to shape up as a full good system. I love the foundation of it. Three actions in a turn. Fantastic. Great choice. The only problem I still have with it is it's kind of hard to build a class. It suffers from 5e syndrome, which is, if you play a monk, you're playing a monk. Sometimes it doesn't even matter what your archetype really is. You know, flavors maybe a few abilities, but at the end of the day, you're playing a monk. 2nd edition is still kind of doing that, where, like, if you want the best armor in the game, you have to be two things. You have to either be a paladin, well, a champion, could be a paladin, or a monk, a mountain stance monk. Those are the two things that I have calculated with the highest AC. In a numbers game, you can't have numbers not matter. You have to have each number matter. And you can't play a fighter if you want to be a tank. They're just not as good a tank as a champion. They just aren't. By numbers alone, they can't be better. While I have some reservations about 2nd edition, the Mwangi Expanse, is such a good read. Oh my god, they're adding so much shit into the world, which is great. I cannot wait for them to actually look at what the fuck Casmaron might be, because they've added some very cool things so far and gone into none of it. But we'll see in time, and I will leave you here. So, have a good one. Please read the book. It's a great read. See you next time.